Alright, so we're here at another railroad depot. This one was owned by the Dansville and Mount Morris Railroad. This was a 15-mile short line railroad, and it was originally built by the Erie Railroad before they officially became the Erie. I forgot what their railroad was at that time, but it was built in the 1800s. I think it was somewhere in the 1860s. There would have been a railroad yard right in front of me, and this building wouldn't have been here. This is the fire department. It would not have been here when the railroad was here. The fire department would not have been one station. It would have been around town. There were actually 3 of them. There were 4 companies: Hook and Ladder, Union Hose, Jackson Hose, and Protectives. And we'll take a look at the Protectives hose wagon in a bit. And this was built by the Erie, and this would have ran from Dansville to Mount Morris. The Erie was running between Avon and Mount Morris. They had 3 stations on that line. I think it was their Rochester division. And the ICC, the Interstate Commerce Commission, in 1933 ordered the connection to the Lackawanna Railroad at Groveland. So at the Lackawanna's Groveland Station Yard, it was a busy railroad yard. Lots of trains were coming through there to get up Dansville Hill, and up this direction would have been where the Lackawanna would have came up and stopped in Dansville. Multiple trains. One of the most iconic ones was the Phoebe Snow. 2 trains on a daily schedule. One at 6 o'clock in the morning, and another one, I think, around 10:30 at night, was the schedule for the Phoebe Snow at Dansville. It was a 2-story building. And a lot of people might wonder, why was the station a 2-story building? Well, the station was so far out of town, they needed an area where the agent could stay. And Agent Snyder was one of them. I forgot his first name. There was a video that was made by the Dansville Historical Society on YouTube, and you can look that up. It's actually called the Groveland Pusher Station. It's a really neat video. It gives you a lot of information on that, about the railroad that ran through Dansville that started in 1882 through the valley, which is a really neat informational video. And the Dansville Mount Morris would have been right here. The tracks would have been right here where I'm standing. There would have been a railroad crossing right here. There would have been a railroad crossing. They would have crossed the road, went down that direction. This is just a replica of a railroad crossing. This was just put in by the brewery. But this is the station right here. 304 and 565 are over at Steamtown. Last I knew, 304 was not in good condition. The Dansville Mount Morris was one of the last railroads to dieselize. They dieselized in 1956. They actually bought the last GE 44 tonner, which was a switcher, and really neat locomotive. The Arcade and Attica Railroad actually has those, and they're still active. The only railroad that is active down here in town is where the Foster Wheeler plant is, and that is the place where they wanted the connection, because the Foster Wheeler plant felt that if there was no connection with Dansville, Mount Morris, and the Lackawanna and Groveland, they would have had to leave Dansville. And that wouldn't have been a good thing, because they built a lot of things for battleships and stuff, especially for World War II, when that was happening. And the hose wagon is right, if I can get a good view of it, right here is the hose wagon. But the tracks over in Dansville are still active down where the Foster Wheeler plant used to be. It is now owned by the Rochester and Southern, a subsidiary of the Genesee and Wyoming, which owns a lot of railroads in the United States. But anyway, if you're new, please subscribe and like, and thanks for watching. And the tracks were dismantled in the 1980s. I'm not sure if I mentioned that, so I apologize for not mentioning that. And I also forgot to mention, and I do apologize about this, for the diesels, one of them was scrapped. The other one is with Bay Colony in Massachusetts. But anyway, thanks for watching, and if you're new, please subscribe and like the video. Thanks for watching.